Faster Fluency Conversation Club podcast, advantages of keeping it simple. Welcome to the Faster Fluency Conversation Club podcast by Business English with Christina. The Faster Fluency Conversation Club takes place on Zoom and is a way for you to improve your fluency and confidence in English by talking about real-world topics. We meet for 1 hour every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we would love you to join us. If you want to practice your English, become more confident, and meet people just like you from all around the world and have guidance from my expert teachers and me, just click the link in the show notes. Our podcast listeners receive a 50% discount on the first month of membership with the discount code FFCC50. Come and join us today. Hi, Christina. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I think I just jumped into there without any kind of introduction, but that's okay. We're keeping it short and to the point today,
Right.
which is actually, so that's the topic of our podcast today, is all about the advantages of keeping it simple. Simple is better. The question, do you sound like a snob in English because you're not using simpler language? So yeah, we'll talk all about all of that. And I guess we can start off with, Christine, I feel like in English we have a lot of different expressions around advice about keeping things short. What do you think?
Yeah, we have these little sayings, these little phrases that we like to use, like short and sweet.
Exactly. Or like short and sweet, like the acronym KISS, like keep it short and sweet.
Mm-hmm. Keep it short and sweet. Sometimes people even, when I was growing up, we would use the KISS acronym, like keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, exactly. It's like maybe after the 20th time you've told somebody, keep it short and sweet, and then they're still being very like overcomplicated with their language. You're like, all right, keep it simple, stupid,
Please, yeah.
Right, yeah. I think, there's that. What else?
What was that Shakespeare quote you said?
Oh, yeah. Brevity is the soul of wit. So, okay, a little bit maybe advanced vocabulary there. Brevity, like, I guess the kind of like from the word family of brief, being short or concise. Brevity is the soul of wit, which basically means if you're going to try to be funny or tell a joke, do it in a short way. Because if you start trying to add in lots of details and all of that, people are like, you lost me.
Yeah. And I think wit is like being clever or intelligent.
Exactly. Yeah. You can always think of a person who someone says something to them and they come back with like just one word and it's like, and you're like, yeah, that was a good comeback.
They're so witty.
Exactly. That's it. Brevity is the soul of wit. And there was also, what was it? Less is more. That was it.
Less is more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Good advice for life in general, perhaps.
And truly, I think sometimes people that are learning English, they do want to increase their vocabulary and that's great, but it can be excessive because the thing is it could misrepresent their character, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes people think more vocabulary is better. It makes me look more intelligent, but truly it takes a lot of intelligence to just simplify things.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it was a quote that is attributed to Mark Twain. I don't know if he actually said this, but whenever there's a witty quote, sometimes it's often attributed to Mark Twain. What was it? I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long letter. Because it's like, like you said, it's hard to be short and concise and brief and all of that. Yeah.
So it's important to not think that short, concise, simple language, it doesn't make you seem less educated at all. It doesn't make you seem less intelligent. It just means that you are able to simplify and deliver something in a way that's super easy to understand.
Yeah, like to really condense your message into a few words. And I think that in and of itself is like a skill to have. Yeah. So maybe it's actually something that works to the advantage of people learning English in the sense that they don't need all of this advanced, sophisticated vocabulary to actually be good communicators. They just need to be confident, kind of like using what they have, basically.
And I think it's such an important thing to do, especially when you're working on an international team or if you're working for an international company, because you're not always going to be speaking with native English speakers. A lot of times that, other folks are non-native. So keeping it short and simple is like the foundation of communication.
Yeah, it's a way of making sure that the communication is clear and that there are no misunderstandings. And I think that's the goal. In a lot of business communication, the goal is not to show off your grammar skills or to show off your wide variety of English vocabulary. It's to get the point across as clearly and as often as quickly as possible. Yeah.
And then also kind of leaves you a space to really focus in on your pronunciation, focus on your grammar, getting your grammar correct. That way you're not worried about all of this very sophisticated vocabulary, but when your grammar is correct and your pronunciation is really good, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of trying to, use, I don't know, the future perfect continuous tense or something and getting all muddled up in it, and just use the future. Yeah, I think a lot of times what we see is students, like you said, like really kind of overcomplicating it and trying. And I understand that they want to be able to use those more complex structures because it's a nice challenge and you feel like, wow, I'm really good. I can use we will have been doing and things like that. But I think a lot of if you're in kind of a stressful situation, maybe stay with the simpler things. And then maybe when you're maybe in FFCC or in another situation where, it's okay to have fun and make mistakes, maybe that's the time to try to push your limits a little bit and use the more complicated things just because you want to learn them.
Yeah. And on a grammar note, in my classes, one thing I've always enjoyed sharing is that, for example, we use the present simple tense, the simple present tense constantly but you might, it's simple present, so it must be simple, like basic, or simple past is simple, like basic. And I'm like, no, we constantly use those tenses. Like if you've got a general habit that you do every day, I exercise every day, I go walking in the morning, I work from 8 to 6. That's all present simple. But
exactly.
Talking about the regular habits you have, and that sounds great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Conversation, and the past simple as well. I went there when I was 3. I worked there 2 years ago. All that simple past, but
exactly. Yeah, and we actually made a video about that, so we can maybe put the link to that video in the show notes about if you're hesitating like between something very complex, here's the simplest way to do it and it sounds great in English. But I think definitely getting away from that idea that simpler doesn't equal intelligent or sophisticated. It's definitely on the contrary. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll keep this one short and sweet. I actually don't know how long it's been, but anyway, we'll hope it's short and sweet, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right. See you guys in FFCC.
Thank you for listening again this week. As a bonus for our listeners, we now offer the transcript of this episode for free so you can read after listening. Our goal is to help you improve all aspects of your English. And when you become a member of the Faster Fluency Conversation Club, each week you also get exercises on grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and more directly connected to the topic of the conversation each week. In addition to the daily speaking practice in the club, you'll also make friends around the world with professionals just like you, so you have fun learning and remember what you learned better. And because you listen to this podcast, you get a 50% discount on your first month of membership. Just use the code FFCC50. And if you'd like to join the club, the link for more details is in the show notes for this podcast. We hope to see you in the club.